Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the GW-E100. It's the Tier 10 German SPG. This one's located on the northeast corner of Karelia, and it's under the command of Deathnub. And he's just recently acquired this SPG and trying it out, and he's got the Corbin Dallas taxi coloration scheme for Christmas.
Let's get this show on the road.
Game on. Well, this Arty didn't exist. Like the Conqueror gun carriage, it's a figment of Wargaming's imagination, mainly because the Germans didn't actually get ahead and complete the GW Tiger, let alone a GW-E100. But they did complete the hull of an E100 tank, albeit they finished as much as they could without fitting the turret onto the vehicle. And this might be what the E100 in Arty form, the Geschosswagen, would actually look like. 21cm howitzer, 900 Alpha, penetrating 53mm of armour. Okay, well, enemy tank has made it up onto the horseshoe already. And unfortunately, we just lost an AMX-30. Yes, our 121B is coming under a bit of pressure. It's one of the bad things about being on this side of the map is that when you start off on this side of the map, it's very difficult to get shells onto the horseshoe. I find if you go around the other side of the cap area to the north area, somewhere around about A8 or A9, it's much easier to get a shot into this area straight away or near enough immediately. The only danger you poses by doing that is that you might be exposed to any enemy scouts who are coming up from that side. They might see you earlier. Unfortunately, we lost the 121B to their T-54, but we're firing around at the A phase 1 and oh, now that shouldn't have happened. The shell dipped very heavily and actually hit that rock. Now he does have this occluded reticule, and that's normally a sign that there's some problem with the something actually obscuring the aim point. But yes, that was rather awkward, so we didn't get what we wanted there. Okay, Charm Mini 75, that's one of the new Christmas tanks, and he's very low on hit points. Unfortunately, he moves away from that spot before we can get a shot on him. And the next tank we see is an Object 260, and well, he's on that ramp, Quickie Baby's ramp, or the ramp that Quickie Baby always liked going to whenever he was in assault mode on this game. Deathnub fires around in anyway, just to see if he can get something from that. A lot of action going on down here. This is not good. The enemy's moving up close to the rock, which of course Deathnub can't really get a shot at, but he can hit these guys. These guys are actually shooting at a distance, and they are being hit by our defenders. That was a good shot, actually, because it struck two tanks at the same time and stunned both of them. And he is picking up stun assist, so he made that one work for him. The only problem now is he's got a CC1 Mark II there, and that guy's got heavy frontal armour, and if he comes around the corner, he's going to have his heavy armour facing us, and the weak armour's at the rear. He's almost loaded. Standard reload time, 37.39 seconds, and he's got about 30. The CC1 Mark II did go down, and he went down to the Waffenträger instead. Oh, and we've just popped another one, the AMX M451. Uh-oh, we've got a Minotauro. That's the Tier 10 Italian tank destroyer, the new one. Incredibly strong frontal armour on this thing. You certainly don't want to hit the front of one of these because you're not really going to do much. And that shell hit the wreck, I'm afraid. It looks like it stunned the Minotauro, but that's about all it did, and he's picked up a load of stun assists. So least it paid off in that sense. Amazingly, that tortoise down there is hardly taking any damage. Well, I say that, and then he does take some damage immediately after that. It's the poor E75 who's suffering, because he's almost lost all of his health. The Minotauro's gone. That's a much better shot there on the E100. 436, he's stunned, he's almost out of health. And now we've changed our attention to the A Phase 1, who's still over here and still using these wrecks for cover, and we need to persuade him not to do that, because that can be really difficult for our guys to get an accurate shot, because after all, when he's using the wrecks, more than likely you're going to hit the wrecks if you try to shoot him. Okay, Deathnub lines him up, rounds out, and yes! That was a good hit, and he got the stun assist off that one as well, so it's well worthwhile. Okay, he's having a quick look over the other side of the battlefield. Object 260, the same one we saw on the ramp earlier, he's now fighting it out with an IS-32. And it looks like the IS-32 is receiving fire from some tanks behind the 260, so he can't come around the rock, because if he does, he's probably going to get hit. And he moved about quickly enough to avoid any damage from Deathnub's shots. Yeah, I had the feeling that the IS-32 is actually trying to dodge shots that are coming from a Guerrilla 15 somewhere near the enemy cap area. Our guys are now moving into the south area, so they've managed to clear the enemy tanks who were trying to attack from that direction, which is good. And now we're going to be able to put a round onto the 260. Rounds out. Oh! It went long, but it still damaged the 260, and now we've got the enemy AMX-30. That was the guy who was on the horseshoe, but he's moved from the horseshoe all the way over to this side, and, well, the IS-32, I just think he double-shotted that Object 260, and did get some hit points off, but yeah, the enemy Arty just finished him off. Okay, so we're loaded. Rounds out the 260. Who might have disconnected. He's not moved for a while. I have the kind of feeling that that's what's happened to him. Okay, Deathnub's moving. 40 kilometer per hour top speed, this thing. It's not particularly fast, but then the E100 isn't particularly fast for that matter. It has the same skirts on the side that protect it from Arty blasts, and an open area at the back, which does make it vulnerable to HE from Arty rounds, so counter battery wise it's not really good. It does have very similar playstyle in many ways to the GW Tiger. It is, although it's down as a 21 centimeter howitzer, according to Wargaming it was actually a mortar, a 21 centimeter mortar, and the only other gun that they had planned for it possibly was the 17 centimeter. But in the game you only get the 21 centimeters, so that's all they'll give you. Okay, Conway, thin armor, big gun. Now if he pulls back round that corner, no, he's going to go round that rock. Deathnub lines him up, fires blind. That certainly would have hurt the Conway. Now we're one up on the enemy at the moment, and the AMX-30 is taken up to defending the cap. We just lost our E75, but he was very badly wounded. He only had a few hit points left. Decided to come down to the cap area all the same. Really, when you've lost that much health, and he had only about, what, 100 hit points left or thereabouts, he should have been taking up a defensive posture and just turning into a TD. And then we just saw the tracer from the enemy Arty, who's just a short distance away. I think he's got this right. It's in that corner area. Oh, and he looks away to see the 260 die to the tortoise. And that was from the horseshoe. We didn't get a kill on the enemy Arty, but what's Deathnub doing now? Well, he is reloading. I think he's just trying to decide where that griller is. He thinks the griller might be in that bush. Well, we can see the AMX-30 and we can see the convoy, so we might as well execute these two. That's a splash. The convoy's up here, and the griller is not where he was, so he must be defending somewhere else nearby. Yeah, I get the feeling Deathnub's worried that the griller might be elsewhere and they might have missed him. He goes back to looking. There's the convoy rubber. Now he can't get the convoy because he's just too far behind that bunker for us to get any splash. We'd only get stunned. And ideally we need to have something actually hit the vehicles to do some solid damage to these guys. Soften them up for our teammates. Okay, the AMX is on the move and he's trying to get behind our guys, so go for the corner. He's actually going to go up by that rock, just a little way up. The convoy can be seen now, just in that corner. You probably get a splash hit on him. But the AMX-30 did come down. There's the griller. He is away from the cap period. He's using that rock for cover. This could be a kill shot if we can get it on him. Oh, and he fires just as the enemy was killed, just as the Waffenträger Panzer IV managed to get the kill shot on the gorilla, which means unfortunately the Deathnub doesn't get the effect from that shell, but the AMX-30 is still out there somewhere. We're only one tank up on the enemy, and unfortunately the gorilla, the AMX-30 rather, has actually come round to the horseshoe, but that's a bit of a bad move because yes, he met the Waffenträger and the Tortoise together, and they both managed to double team him, so the Tortoise got the kill. Rounds out on the enemy Arty. No, it's the convoy, sorry. There's the enemy Arty. Okay, line him up. Oh, that was pretty lethal. 704 made quick job of him. Now we might be able to get a shot onto the convoy any second now. He's going to be exposed. Oh, he came forward and it was almost like he was trying to dummy us, feeding us false information on where he was going. The convoy is the last enemy alive and he's just killed our 704. So Deathnub can soften him up if he can get one round into him. Do the trick. He's guessing where he is now. 2-minute warning. Oh, the convoy's gone. That's the end of the game. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for Deathnub in the GWE100. He also managed to get a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 11, and he got a Confederate as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. And in fact, nobody was killed by him in the entire game, although he does have the capability of doing that. The 21 centimeter howitzer, or mortar as they say, is quite capable of knocking out enemy tanks with one shot. His win rate from that one, 2,230. Let's have a look at the team scores and see where he is. Well, he didn't get the highest damage. That actually went to the Tortoise, who was doing quite effectively, actually. He got a Brothers in Arms, high caliber, and a Top Gun out of that game. 7,196 hit points. Second highest damage was that AMX-30. He was very mobile. He, at the start of the battle, he was on the horseshoe, then he was over the other side of the map, and then he ended up on the horseshoe again. 4,870 hit points to him. And the third highest was the Waffenträger auf Panzer IV. He ended up with 4,518 hit points. He got a brothers in arms as well with the Tortoise. Between them, they got 10 kills, 2/3 of the enemy team. So very well played by them. We can see that the next highest damage was the A phase 1 on the enemy team, 4,137. But the next one after that, so fifth in highest damage, is Deathnub with 2,904 hit points. When it came to kills in that game, it was the Tortoise with 6 kills. 4 kills went to the Waffenträger. 3 kills went to the Object 704, the AMX-30 and the Conway. And as I said earlier, Deathnub didn't get any kills at all, but that actually helped him to get the Confederate. When it came to base XP, it's the Tortoise who did the best with 1,819, but he was closely followed by Deathnub, who had 1,108. I say closely followed, there's a bit of a big gap between them, but that's only because the Tortoise was being very OP with the amount of damage he did. As I said earlier in the replay, he's actually survived on that corner for an awful long time with virtually no damage whatsoever. But that's because he was hiding the weak spot, the cupola, and the enemy just couldn't see it. All they could see was the hard armor, and there was not a lot they could do. And he was just blasting away with his 120mm gun and getting lots and lots of damage with that every time. So the second base XP, second highest, is Deathnub with 1,108. Yeah, that's pretty surprising, but I think that's down to the fact that he did get a lot of stun assist and some useful stuff at that, because he hit some of those tanks, stunned them, held them in place, and allowed his teammates to get shots on them. The E100 on his team managed to get 1,024 and the Waffenträger 1,002. So 4 tanks managed to get over 1,000 base in the game. So well done to them. He fired 19 shots in the game, got 4 direct hits on the enemy, no penetrations but 16 splash. Damage of 2,904 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. Damage 10 of the enemy, didn't get any kills, but he got 5,176 hit points of stun assist off 15 stuns, and I suspect that's the reason he actually ended up with an ace tanker. 87,348 credits for the battle, 43,674 for completing the mission, and 131,022 credits altogether. And after ammunition, resupply and consumables, took away 71,502 credits profit. 7 bombs, because this was tier 10, 1,662 XP, 4,155 experience points for holding ops, and 5,817 experience points altogether. So a very good game for Deathnub in the GWE100. A very interesting Arty. We've just seen the, I think I did it a few days ago. I did the profile for this on armor. It does have a very heavy or solid front end to it. If I didn't do the profile, I'll certainly do it in the next video. Anyway, actually it was his 17th game. It wasn't his first game or second game, but 17th game. But that's very good. An ace tanker within 17 games shows that Deathnub is really moving it, and it won't be long before he marks it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.